Now, finally, we get to what content creators have probably been waiting for the last 25 minutes of this guided tour. How do they create and post content? It's actually super easy. You simply come into your account, you hit the author content. Here you can see I've authored a bunch of work, only one of which is active on the site. That happens to be the issue for which you were seeing all those analytics previously. Or I come in and I hit add new content. The very first time that you add new content, you will only see the add new series section because you are adding a series for the very first time. As mentioned earlier, Phicno works in series and issues. It's really a grouping, but it's important because for content authors, they obviously have comic book series and issues within that series. But again, we mentioned that this site is really good for illustrators, colorists, and inkers and typesetters to also use as a portfolio tool. So we recommend creating a series, which is a grouping of types of content, and then creating issues within those series, and then you can effectively use Phicno to promote your work and maybe get some commission work out of it. So here I am. I can add a new series from scratch, or I can go to an existing series and add an issue underneath it. So I'll add a new issue called Demo, right? The issue type, comic, graphic novel versus cartoon or other, this is how that filter works that I showed you earlier on in the search part of the demo that separates comics from cartoons and others. So I'm going to keep this as comic, graphic novel. I'm going to go ahead and hit add issue. So here you see my new issue. I haven't shown you this previously, but anytime you see a grid like this, when you select a field in it, there will be a drop-down menu that appears on the top right corner, and this is where you get your actions associated with this. So the first thing you can do, if for some reason you have created your content out of order, you can always hit reorder, and it'll show you all of the different issues within that series. But in this case, I want to actually edit the issue, and that's what's going to allow me to configure everything I need to produce some content live on the site. So you can see the issue number, you can see the series title. If you edit this, you are going to be editing the series title for all the issues within that series. You have the issue title. I didn't mention this before, but the very first time you create content, you create the series title, but the issue title will be issue number 1. Here is where, if you have a publisher that's on the system, you could mark your publisher here, and then when you go to the publisher's homepage, your content will appear in there. This is where you convert to a mature audience. I haven't shown you this, but I will quickly show you that later. But this basically handles the situation of mature content being covered by a semi-transparent window and making a user click that they are over 18 to view. Here's where you convert your content to paid view, so that when a fan gets to spread 2 and it has had a preview of your content, in order to continue they hit a paywall and they have to go to PayPal and they are charged 99 cents to unlock that content, but by default all the content is free to view. Again, this is the issue type if you feel like you need to change that from when you first created it. Here is where you select genres and keywords. You must select at least one genre or one keyword in order to make your content live. So let's go ahead and select action and adventure, and we'll hit update. Issue pages. This is where you actually upload the content for your comic. We're not going to do that yet. We'll come in here and we'll put some intro copy in. This is the first issue in a great upcoming series. Here's where you can select your YouTube video for the intro. We mentioned that earlier. Here's where you put your closing copy. I hope you enjoyed this comic. Stay tuned for the next issue. Again, here's where I can put a closing video. This is where you can select your background image if you would like. This feature, Free Watcher, we'll ignore this for now because it's not quite available yet. And this is a future feature which hopefully we will be able to enable digital printing. Okay, so let's add some images to our comic. So we come to the issue pages section and we hit the edit button. And you'll see the very first time you are adding images to a comic, there's a help screen to help you decide what dimension and resolution and file type you should be using. Because Phicno is designed for comic books originally, the recommendation is that you use a 1050 pixel by 1570 pixel high resolution PNG. It's an image that includes the bleed. If your comic is already in print, this is your original asset that you sent to the printer. We will then trim off that bleed and produce all the assets necessary to create a viewing experience on Phicno that is exactly the same as one that your fan would have if they had the digital print. In other words, one that does not include the bleed-in area. We will also keep the original asset on file so that in the future when we implement digital printing, we will have the original asset to send to the printer. So let's go ahead and close this out. You can always get back to it if you have forgotten. So, in order to make content live, you must have 8 pages. A cover page, a back cover page, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is a requirement so that the experience is in-depth enough for the fans. So you simply click Choose File, choose a cover, choose File, choose Back Cover. If you want to get rid of it, you click the X and start over again. You can also drag and drop your images directly onto the field. That'll work as well. I happen to like this because I think it's faster. So we'll say page 4, page 5, page 6. If you have more, you simply hit the plus spreads and you can add page 7, page 8. And I'll just do 2 more. And then you hit upload new pages. If you want to edit this later, you simply hit the edit button and you come in and you override a particular image and Phicno will go and recreate all your necessary assets. So right now what's happening is all the assets are being trimmed, cut, different sizes are being created for smartphone, for thumbnails. So when this is done, it'll simply refresh. So here you can see the page has refreshed itself and you can see all of the thumbnails for all of the images that we uploaded. If for some reason you need to change something, you can hit the edit button and go and browse for a new image and then hit your upload new pages and it will recut all of the assets for you. So you've configured all of your information. You go ahead and hit cancel update and you'll notice that your content is not live yet. So if I, for example, were to go and grab the URL for this piece of content and put it in a browser, because it's not live, we will actually load in one of the featured pieces of content in place of that URL. So we come back to our content and we choose activate. So now that content is active. And if I were to go to that URL now, there you see the content. It's that simple. Now, if I were to come back to that content and hit edit, I could then not only change some of the assets, I could add a keyword like demo, I could choose convert to mature audience. I could update my intro copy. And all of your updates are immediate on the website. So here you see what happens if you mark your content as mature audience. Here you can see my update to the copy. And also if I now come to search, and I choose demo, there you see my piece of content.